Alright, so today I want to show you some of my female ball pythons that I'm breeding this year. I started pairing them up about 4 months ago, and usually I get eggs about the 5th month. In about 1 more month I should start getting clutches of eggs, which is pretty exciting. And I kind of want to show you kind of the tail end of the breeding season. As a matter of fact, I paired up pretty much once at the beginning of every month for the 4 months. I'm pretty much done pairing up. So the last time I paired up was almost at the beginning of February, all the way into the first week of February. I kind of rotated my males through the females, and I'm pretty much gonna call it quits at this point. I know last year I kind of paired up a little bit later in the season, and the problem is I had some that laid really late in the year, almost too late to get back up to size to breed for the following year. So I'm pretty much gonna cut it at this point. If they go, they go, and if they don't, they don't. And I'll go through and I'll show you some of the ones that are really big and developing a lot of eggs. These girls can lay a lot of eggs. I have some really big females. It should be a pretty good year. Alright, so this year I changed things up a little bit. This is my rack right here with most of my female breeders over here. And I actually have heat controllers on the top that controls every single level. I have a probe on every level, so I maintain the temperature at 90 degrees on every level. And this year what I did is I actually put these little breeding stickers on, so I know exactly which snakes are breeding and which ones are not. So the ones that aren't breeding didn't really have the body condition going into the season. So I can start with this big Pastel Calico. This one, it's kind of funny, she keeps jumping in her water. I just spot cleaned yesterday, moved her out of her water. She's like wrapping around the bowl, and look at how big this girl is. She is incredibly huge. I'm actually breeding my Pastel Desert Ghost with this girl. She get a whole bunch of het Desert Ghosts, probably. This is actually a Pastel Calico, so we should get pastels, super pastels, and Pastel Calico, super Pastel Calico. All will be 100% het Desert Ghost. And just look at how big she is. This girl, she started really slamming the rodents really good, and then she went off of food. She's definitely building a lot of eggs. She probably hasn't eaten for about a month. She's been off food, which is a really good sign this time of year. This girl is definitely gonna lay some eggs. Alright, I also have a couple het caramel albino females that are really huge. And it's kind of interesting, I actually did a little something different this year. So every single year you can pair up a little bit different. This year what I did is, well, actually last year I bred a scaleless head to some of these het caramel albinos and produced some scaleless head, 50% het caramel albinos. So I took 2 of those snakes. I'm breeding one of them back to this one and one of them back to another one. So essentially what I'm hoping for is a caramel albino scaleless head ball python, which I have never really seen one. It could be the world's first. And these girls have been off food for a long time. I keep offering food and they're really super big and beefy. As a matter of fact, I have 2 of them. This is my het caramel female number 2. And then I have one on the bottom here, not quite as big on this other one. And the cool thing is look at this girl. I don't know what she's doing with her head in the water. It's like, how long can you stay underwater, you crazy snake? What are you doing? Come out, come out. That is kind of crazy. I've never seen one do that. And so take a look at this. This is most likely the pre-lay shed. She just shed this out because I went through and spot cleaned just yesterday, and she didn't have the shed in here, so it'll probably be almost exactly 30 days, and this girl is gonna lay. It's really obvious sign she's getting really big and beefy. Hasn't been eaten for about 2 months. She's been off of food. She's bowl wrapping, which is a really good sign, and usually they have a shed about 30 days, almost exactly 30 days, right before they lay some eggs. So those are probably the 3 that most likely will lay the soonest. So essentially what happens, normally what I do is like almost like maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, what I'll do is I'll go through with my ultrasound, I'll measure all the follicles and figure out the immature size of the eggs in the snakes and arrange them by the biggest to the smallest. And then what I'll do is I'll keep peeking in the snake with the biggest one and make sure I catch the eggs as soon as they're laid. Usually I check twice a day, and then as soon as the first first ones are laid, I usually go through all the ones that I think are gonna lay and check them twice a day. And there's a few on here, like for example, this one was fasting for a long time. You can kind of see the feed card. And just last week, she took a live rat, which means she may not actually lay. Usually if they start feeding, you know, it's usually they're gonna lay really late or they won't lay at all. And this one's kind of interesting. So this is the one that I actually got my dinker ball python from, and I think there's something in here. I just really can't figure out what it is. This was sold to me as a normal, but I got some really interesting offspring from this one. It almost looks like there's something in there, like a reduced pattern, almost like a cinnamon color or something. I'm thinking there's definitely something in there, but it's kind of funny because I've actually crossed other snakes with this, and all the normals that came out in previous years look completely normal with no reduced pattern or anything. Sometimes you can get a weird normal that is not genetic, so I'm not sure if this one's gonna go. It looks like she may be developing a little bit. If she actually lays, she'll probably lay really late. So here's another female that I'm pretty sure this girl's gonna lay. This is a Pinstripe Female, and I'm actually pairing this one with my Coral Glow male. My Coral Glow is 100% het pied and a male maker. So every single Coral Glow that comes out of this pairing will actually be a male. Most likely every single Coral Glow I've ever gotten so far has been a male. It's kind of interesting, the whole male maker thing. And this one is, you know, all the offspring will actually be 50% het pied. There's a 50% chance they'll carry one copy of the pied gene, but you really can't tell if they carry it or not. It's a 50-50 chance. And this, I'd say probably my favorite combo is a Coral Glow Pinstripe. Really awesome combo. I actually produced one last year and I sold it, and it was so awesome. I was almost tempted to hold it back. It's really awesome. This is, I can almost guarantee this girl is going to lay a big clutch of eggs. So I actually have another one up here. This is my Albino het pied female, and if you kind of look at the feeding card for this year, it is like the 4th week of February. She hasn't eaten anything at all, and it's kind of disappointing. I was actually breeding my Albino pied with this one, hoping to get some more visual Albino pied, because she's albino 100% het pied. I actually got some Albino pied visual. I got one Albino pied visuals from this girl, so I did prove her out for the het pied, and you can definitely see she hasn't been eaten, and she really doesn't have the body condition at all. She probably won't lay eggs. She's getting really super skinny, and sometimes that happens. You know, sometimes you pair up the ball pythons. She's actually looking really good when I first paired her up about 4 months ago, and then when they stopped eating, she actually locked several times. And it doesn't really matter if they lock. What really matters is if they have enough body condition, and if they keep eating at the beginning of the season. This one definitely went off of food. Probably hasn't eaten for a couple months now, and I'm guessing this one probably won't lay any eggs. So here's another one way down on the bottom by the floor. This is actually a Lemon Blast, and if we actually take a look at the card here, you can see this one's actually eaten a couple weeks ago, so I'm not sure if this one's actually going to go. It might go late, but she's got some really good body condition, looking really big and beefy. And sometimes if they go on food, it's usually a sign that they're not going to go, but sometimes it can kind of trick you. Usually about a month or two before they lay eggs, they stop eating. I was hoping this one would go because she is so big and beefy. I'm not exactly sure if she's going to go. I'm hoping she'll actually go, but you never know with these crazy ball pythons. Alright, so I actually have a pied female up here that is really huge, and she's been eating a lot. I'm not sure if she's going to go or not, but take a look at this feeding card. She's just really been pounding the rest. The LR stands for live rats, so this is like the last week of January, she actually ate 4, and then the second week of February, she ate 3, and they're pretty small live rats. I really don't like to feed really big ones. And she's really been just going crazy. Every time I open the tub, she's just kind of looking out, and it looks like like she's gotten to the point where I'm thinking she's building some eggs. I'm not 100% sure. It looks like she actually shed back here, so I'm not sure. I just spot cleaned yesterday, so this could possibly be the pre-lay shed, but usually they don't eat this aggressively right before the pre-lay shed, so I'm thinking maybe, maybe not. I'm really hoping that this girl goes. I'm actually breeding my fire pied male with this one, so I'll get 50% fire pieds and 50% visual pieds, and you can see this is kind of a mess over here. I can't believe, you know, you almost have to go through these all the time. She went to the bathroom over here and then shed over here, and it's like I have to constantly keep going through and spot cleaning all these snakes, because it's kind of funny. If you actually leave the mess in the tub when they go to the bathroom, it puts them off of food. You definitely want to stay on top of spot cleaning. So another snake that I'm really excited about is my Pastel Spider Desert Ghost Female. If you take a look at her feeding card, she actually ate a live rat last week. She's been on live rats. It seems like, you know, to kind of get them in the mood, sometimes you have to feed them live rats if you really want to beef them up in the kind of in the breeding. So you can definitely tell she is going into a shed. She's almost ready to shed. It almost looks like maybe her eyes got cloudy and they're clearing up. Just ready to go into the shed. She looks nice and big and beefy. This girl could actually lay some eggs, but I'm not sure exactly when, because she's actually been eating rodents. So, you know, usually it's a really good sign if they stop eating instead of, you know, continuing to eat. Usually that's not a really good sign. Usually it's at least a month before they stop eating. So I also have a Pastel Female up here that I'm breeding, but I'm not exactly sure if she's gonna go. She's kind of a finicky eater. She's been eating a little bit on and off. She ate ate a live rat just a couple weeks ago, but I don't know. She's kind of on the edge. She has some pretty good body condition. She may be developing some eggs, but I'm not sure if she's gonna go or what's going on with this girl. It's kind of hard to tell. Sometimes you just kind of have to let nature run its course, and if you get eggs, you get eggs, and then if you don't, you can hopefully feed them enough before the beginning of the next year. And that's kind of the hardest part, is getting them back on food, getting them back up to weight before the next breeding season. So here's a really big normal female. I think this girl's actually gonna go. If you take a look at her, she's really nice and big and beefy. Really a dark normal. She's got a lot of dark coloration, pretty much your classic coloration of a normal. And I don't know, she was building pretty good there, eating like crazy. And then the last couple months she's been really picky, starting to thin out a little bit, kind of on the edge with this one. I'm not sure if this one's gonna go either. So this is actually one of my very first snakes. This is a normal female. This is my normal female #1. This snake I actually got free off of Craigslist. It was a free snake. She actually laid a really big clutch of eggs last year. She's looking pretty thin this year. I don't think this one's actually gonna go. She's pretty much off of food. Sometimes you pair them up and they go right off of food, and then you're kind of, you know, defeating the purpose of actually pairing them up, because essentially all you do is you're putting them off of food and they're not gonna breed. So hopefully this girl will get back to weight before the next breeding season. So actually I have a few snakes I'm breeding over here. This is my Pinstripe Pied. She's been eating really well and breeding really well. I'm hoping she'll go. She's looking pretty beefy. And this one I'm actually breeding with my Fire Pied as well. So I'll get Fire Pieds, I'll get Pinstripe Pieds, I'll get Fire Pinstripe Pieds, and I'll get just regular Pieds if this girl goes. This is like her first year breeding. She is from 2016. She's pretty old, but she's been a really picky eater. Hopefully this girl will go. And then I have this one over here. This one I'm not sure about. Some of these younger snakes, I actually bred this one last year and she didn't go. This is my Bumblebee and Possible Het Pied. I'm actually breeding my Fire Pied with this one as well. And then I have a Clown over here. I'm breeding to this one. I'm not sure if this one's gonna go. She's looking pretty beefy, but she's a pretty small snake. So I'm not 100% sure if this one's gonna go or not. This is actually the snake where I got my triple hets from. I bred my Albino Pied to this girl last year and got Albino, Clown, Pied hets, the triple hets from this girl, which is pretty awesome. This year I'm actually breeding my Banana Enchi Clown with that one. I'm also breeding breeding my banana enchi clown with this one. This one I'm pretty sure she's gonna lay. She is a nice, really big, lesser clown. Really big. She's almost looks like she's bull wrapping, so I'm almost certain that this girl's gonna go. This is her very first year breeding. And so this actually has the lesser gene and the clown gene. Really awesome snake. She's got a pretty cool head pattern there, which is pretty awesome. And I'm actually breeding this one with my banana enchi clown. I should show you that one. I'm really excited about this clown project. As a matter of fact, if I actually produce some females from this pairing, I'm definitely gonna hold them back as future breeders. I definitely want to get more into the clown stuff, but take a look at this guy. He is really super awesome. I actually bought him to breed to those two clowns this year. He has banana, enchi, and clown in the mix. Really awesome snake. Definitely looking forward to pairing him up with some other stuff in the future. Alright, so it is time for the question of the day. And Solo Herps asks, where can I contact you about buying some snakes? And that is a very good question. Essentially, there's really only two places that you can get a hold of me. One is over on Morphmarket if you're interested in buying a snake, or if you have some general questions, you can just post them under any video anywhere on my channel and I'll actually see them. It's kind of interesting. If you go to the YouTube dashboard, you can actually go into one of my old videos, like 2 years old, post a comment and it comes up in my messages, and I go through all my messages pretty much from the newest to the oldest, and I can see pretty much everything that everyone asks over on YouTube. Probably the biggest kind of thing that really is kind of a glitch in YouTube, and that is if you actually ask me a question or something over on YouTube in the comment section, I can respond to it, but then if you reply to the response, I can't see it as a new comment on YouTube, so it kind of gets lost. A lot of people have these big conversations, you know, under a comment, and I kind of look down. It's kind of surprising. All these people are having this conversation and I'm totally clueless as far as the YouTube dashboard, because I don't see the replies to responses other than kind of the ones that are held, and kind of the ones that are flagged. You know, if you start swearing and stuff on there, it definitely holds them, and I go through and I have to deal with some of the stuff on there. Actually, if you start swearing in the comments, it's actually the YouTube policy that I have to actually go in and delete those comments. So whatever you do, try not to swear in my comment section. Sometimes I'll let some stuff go, but most of the times I try to clean it up as best as possible. So that is pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.